All right, let's talk stablecoins. You probably think of them as this super modern crypto thing, right? A product of the blockchain age. Well, what if I told you the real origin story is way older? Like 100 years older. And it has nothing to do with digital code and everything to do with one of the most chaotic economic collapses ever.
I mean, seriously, what could your crypto wallet possibly have in common with a piece of paper that's a century old? It sounds crazy, I know. But the answer to that question, well, it pretty much flips what we thought we knew about financial history on its head. So let's connect those dots.
Okay, so before we get to the big reveal, let's start with the familiar story. The official version of how stablecoins came to be.
All right, so the timeline we all know is pretty recent. It's all digital. Kicks off in 2014 with the first ones like BitUSD and Tether, which were basically built to bridge the gap between crypto and good old-fashioned money. Then, a few years later, you get the more regulated guys like USDC showing up, talking all about transparency. Of course, we can't forget the big drama in 2022, the whole Terra USD collapse, which was a huge wake-up call about the risks. And that leads us to today, with regulators trying to figure out the rules of the road. Seems like a pretty straightforward modern story, doesn't it?
And the whole point of these things? It was simple, really. Crypto is a roller coaster, right? Extreme ups and downs. Stablecoins were created to solve that one huge problem. They're pegged one-to-one to something stable, like the US dollar, giving traders a safe place to park their money without having to completely cash out of the crypto world. Okay, but here's where the official story just kind of falls apart. This is the part that takes a wild turn. We're about to uncover the chapter that was basically ripped out of the history books, completely forgotten until just now. So, what if that whole digital timeline we just walked through, what if it's not the whole story? What if it's not even the beginning of the story? What if it's just the final chapter in a book that's way, way older?
Yeah, 1923. That's the real starting point. We're talking nearly a full century before anyone even thought about writing a single line of code for something like Tether.
You see, the real story didn't start in a tech hub like Silicon Valley. Nope, it started out of pure, raw desperation. We're in Germany during the Weimar Republic, and their national currency was in an absolute death spiral. It was becoming so worthless so fast that it was basically just paper. People were desperate for a solution, any solution. And when I say worthless, I mean, just look at these numbers. It's hard to even wrap your head around. In 1914, it was about 4 marks to $1 US. Totally normal. By 1923, it was 4.2 trillion marks to $1. Trillion. Imagine your entire life savings suddenly not being enough to buy a loaf of bread. The entire system had just completely broken down. So, what do you do when your country's money is destroyed? Well, people got creative. Local groups like the Chamber of Commerce, they just stepped up and did it themselves. They started printing their own emergency money, called Notgeld, and it was designed to do one simple, crucial thing: actually hold its value. So how on earth did a piece of paper printed by a local town hall work when the national currency failed? Well, this is the really cool part. When you look at the mechanics behind it, the similarity to what we're doing today is it's mind-blowing. Just look at this side by side. It's basically the same blueprint. On the left, the 1923 Notgeld. What did it do? It pegged its value to a stable external asset, in this case, the US dollar. And it was backed by real deposits kept in a bank. Now look at the right, a modern stablecoin like USDC. What does it do? It pegs its value to a stable external asset, the US dollar. And it's backed by reserves. It is, functionally, the exact same idea. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some historical theory we're retrofitting. It's printed right there on the actual banknote. This piece of paper literally says $1 US equals 4.20 mark gold. It's a public promise in black and white, tying its value directly to a more stable, trusted currency from another country. So let's think about who was running the show. Back in 1923, it was these local groups, the Chamber of Commerce. Kind of like a community-driven thing. Fast forward to today, and who's issuing them? It's big, centralized companies like Circle or Tether. So yeah, the issuers are different, a public-ish body versus a private corporation, but they're playing the exact same role.
And why were they even created in the first place? Well, the triggers were pretty different. In 1923, it was a full-blown national emergency. The entire system was collapsing.
Today, it was more about fixing a problem inside a specific market, the wild, inefficient world of crypto. So you could say one was born from total desperation, while the other was born from a need for convenience and efficiency.
Okay, so if this connection is so obvious, you got to be asking, how did we forget about it for 100 years? And that brings us to the craziest, most modern twist in this whole story. It's about how this lost piece of history was literally rediscovered and how it was used to correct our collective digital memory, basically in real time. And this all went down just recently. We're talking November 24th, 2025. A guy named Jay Wong, who runs the World Economic and Finance Archives, was having a chat with Google's Gemini AI, and he decided to call it out on its version of financial history. And Wong didn't just come with opinions. He came with receipts. Literally. He basically said, hey, I disagree with you. I'm holding the proof right here in my hands. I've got the banknotes from the 1920s, and there was no doubt in my mind that these are stablecoins. I mean, talk about a direct challenge from a human with physical evidence to a massive AI. And then, the incredible thing happened. The AI didn't argue. It listened, and it agreed. It responded, that is a fantastic observation, and went on to say, you are absolutely correct. This 1923 Knockgeld served the exact same function as a modern stablecoin. It just completely conceded the point. A machine learned from a human and changed its mind. And this wasn't just a friendly chat. Because of that one conversation, the AI actually updated its knowledge base. It formally revised the history of stablecoins. Now, its official history recognizes the 1923 analog precedent as the new starting point. Just like that, the origin story of stablecoins got pushed back almost a century. So, what's the big takeaway here? What does all of this actually mean? Well, for one, it completely forces us to rethink what we even consider innovation, especially in finance. Because the definition of a stablecoin just got a major upgrade. It's not really about the blockchain or digital tech anymore, is it? It's about an idea, an enduring solution to a recurring problem. How do you create stability when the main currency just completely fails you? The technology is just the delivery mechanism. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? The technology is always changing, but our fundamental human problems, they tend to stick around. The need for a stable way to store value, especially during a crisis, is not new. It's a timeless problem. So blockchain didn't invent the stablecoin. It just gave us a powerful new toolbox to build a really old, really smart idea. Which leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about, right? This whole story is just a powerful reminder that sometimes the newest, most innovative ideas aren't new at all. They're just old ideas that got forgotten. It really makes you wonder, what other modern inventions are just echoes of the past, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to rediscover them?